No, my mom's here already. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the comments right there. What is up? If you can see and hear me, say something in the chat box. If you can see and hear me, let me know where you're checking in from in the chat box. Hey, hey, hey. I don't even know if my mom's still here. If you can see and hear me, let me know in the chat box where you're checking in from. If you can see and hear me. Let me know. Can y'all hear me? I don't know if I could. Yeah, check and see if you can hear me. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, perfect. All right, so as you come in, let me know where you're checking in from in the chat box. Let me know, let me know. Let me know. I don't know what's going on, but you said you can hear me. Okay. Ava said Florida. Hey, Ava. Hey, hey, hey. So as you come in, let me know where you're checking in from in the chat box. Let me know. Today is going to be really good. We are talking about some juicy things. So I always get asked about balance. So I want to talk about balance a little bit today. We're also going to talk a little bit about products and manufacturers today. We're going to talk relationships. We're going to talk all of that good stuff today. So as you're coming in, make sure that you can see and hear me and let me know where you are signing in from. Let me know what state, what city, all of the things. Let me know. And I'm trying to figure out why I didn't tell me that I was live.
You didn't get one?
Mm-mm.
There you go.
Let's see. All right, I don't know. We're just going to get started then. If you can see and hear me, we're going to get started. And I'm guessing people are going to join in later. Let's see. All right, so today we are talking relationships, business. We're also talking about products, manufacturing, all of that good stuff. So as you come in, let me know where you're checking in from. Put it in the chat box. Put it in the chat box. I see Atlanta. Hey, Tasha. Hey. Let me know. Oh, baby, you can finish opening this. We're going to get started because we got places to be. Ooh, we got places to be. And so as people trickle in, they will just trickle in and tap in. Say something, babe.
Testing.
Hey, Andrea. Can y'all hear Andy? Hey, Andrea, checking in from Atlanta. Thank you. How was your weekend? How was your Monday? Let me know. How was your weekend? How was your Monday? I always like to check in. My weekend was great. I celebrated a wedding. I was in a wedding. Andy was in the wedding too, actually.
Yeah.
So Andy was in the wedding. He was the best man. And I was one of the head of bridesmaids. And my voice is still trying to recoup from this weekend. Okay, I see the only Only the Chosen is checking in from Houston. Hey, what is up? So I want to hop into things because we gotta go hang out with our friends because they move, right? They got married.
Yep.
They go on their honeymoon tomorrow. They move when they get back. And I won't be here when they get back. So we're hanging out tonight. So we are going to get things flowing. We're going to get into this conversation. So pretty much just to talk about what Hustle Talks is, just in case this is your first time checking in. Hustle Talks is a real talk live series where I discuss everything about entrepreneurship, mindset, life, business, all the things, but I always drop gems no matter what. So even in conversations like these, they're going to be gems because believe it or not, your relationships actually feed into whether or not you're successful as an entrepreneur. So I'm excited to talk about this today. I'm excited to talk about balance. I'm excited to pick Andy's head a little bit about his manufacture process because he creates custom products and things like that. And I know that some of the hustle babes in my community are interested in having things custom made instead of buying them in bulk and things like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Yep. We're also going to talk about like our relationship and our balance and what we do and all the things. So that's going to be really good. It might be a little bit of tea there. Andrea said her weekend was relaxing. Shelly said I celebrated a weekend this wedding too. A wedding this weekend too. I said a wedding. A weekend this wedding. Why did I keep saying that? A wedding this weekend. And your daughter was one of the flower girls. Hey, Shelly. So yeah, so today's going to be a good conversation. That's what Hustle Talks is all about. And so this is my first time having a guest on Hustle Talks technically since the revamping of it, because the first edition of Hustle Talks was actually just me inviting guests into the E-Hustle Club. And so the one that was broadcasted on YouTube was actually with Ziana, she's doing amazing. She actually just got engaged like literally last week. So her year is going amazing. She's now a full-time entrepreneur. She just got proposed to. It's going up for her. So proud of her. So if you haven't seen that one that we actually did, I think it was last year. It was last year. Right? I think so. Yeah. So Ziana was on here last year and we did Hustle Talks and it was interview style. So that's really good. We talked about her launch and how she sold over 100 products within 2 months and she's doing amazing. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of today, I just want to introduce Andy. So I always talk about Andy. He is now my husband as of a year and...
Some change ago.
What month are we in?
July. So that's...
A year and 3 months.
4.
No, it's 4? 3. July's the 7th month. A year and 3 months and some change. So Andy is my husband. I always mention Andy's name as if y'all know him already, but I know y'all don't. So we are talking all about Andy today. Well, not all about you, but I forgot to post that.
Part of it.
So let me post join me on YouTube Live. Forgot to do this.
How you doing, Andrea?
We've been maneuvering things around. Like we moved the couch right here. Do y'all like the couch?
I think it looks good. Yeah. I actually think you should keep this set up. You don't like the couch?
No, I got to do work here. I got to bring my table back. But yeah, so this is Andy. I wanted to bring Andy as my first guest just because I felt like my first guest should be special. So I decided to bring Andy. Not only that, but July was his birthday, July 3rd. Yep. I don't think it's cancer season anymore.
It's not, but it's okay.
I didn't know you kept up with that.
No, I remember we went somewhere and that guy kept mentioning it. I forgot what it was. But yeah, he made sure to know that it's not cancer season. But it's okay. We celebrated all month. I'll take it.
You can scoot over, Pim. So yes, so his birthday was in July. So what better month to actually bring Andy on than July, the last day of July, my first guest ever. And I know that people typically think that you're like a baby because you have a baby face, but he actually just turned 29. He is getting old, which is crazy because I'm 25. And you just turned 29. And so you're actually older than me. Andrea said she loved the couch. Thanks, Andrea. And so it's interesting to have you actually talk to the Hustle Babes because I feel like I put you on my story and stuff like that. And obviously, if you've seen our wedding, it was amazing. It was fantastic. So you've seen Andy before. But he doesn't do much talking when it comes to like my stuff. So it's interesting to pick his brain a little bit. Andy is like the ultimate husband material. I never give him that compliment,
I'm gonna take that.
but yes, he's kind, he's supportive, he's always just here, he listens. He does everything. So I am interested in picking his brain and us just talking and honestly just being our relaxed selves. So that we could talk about like how relationships and business actually work, because I know like in the world today there are a lot of people who are getting divorced, there are a lot of people who are breaking up, there are a lot of people who are vowing to stay single, there are a lot of people who are just out here struggling when it comes to the relationship department because their significant other doesn't support them in business. And Andy is the complete opposite of that. So Jeffy wanted to talk about like how we do it and things like that. Andrea said she definitely thought that she was younger. Exactly. So let us start off by just talking about my journey a little bit, my entrepreneurship journey, which I love to talk about, but more importantly, like how you played a role in that journey. Because I talk a lot about how I fasted and quit my 9 to 5,
Yep.
but I was with you at the time and I wasn't living alone.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was definitely a weird moment because at that time we were pretty much in a good space, and she was working, but it's like you knew that this was coming. Like Chanel, the way that she does certain things and the way that she was being treated at the work that she was doing, but you knew that she was way more talented than what she was given. Like she reached her ceiling in all those positions that she held. So it was only a matter of time until she decided to take this leap of faith. So when that happened, I think we had a conversation. We used to have long drives, like just driving back home from work because we used to carpool. When that happened, probably in the car, just driving, and she said it, and my first instance was like, "Wait a minute, just wait." Like initially for like 5 seconds, but the more I thought about it, and I realized like this is really like her calling. This is what she's been doing. Like so, it I had to sort of push her to realize like this is for you, and you should actually take this leap of faith. And all she needed was that I can actually do this. This is not just me thinking in my head, and I can do this. And I mean, at that point in time, it was end all be all. Quit Friday, Monday she was up and rolling, and that was it was like this. That's how you knew she was ready to go. Like it wasn't something that she was like playing around with. Like it's more like I just needed the confirmation that I was good, and once she got that, and it was match made in heaven.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, you say I quit Friday and started Monday, but for clarity, I did do a launch strategy with that. But my last day was a Friday, and I
Yep.
did start on a Monday. I didn't waste any time with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so how it happened, just in case, you guys don't know my entrepreneurship story, which the full extended 45-minute version is on YouTube. But pretty much, I was in the corporate marketing space. I had gone through like 3 or 4 jobs since graduating college, not because I don't know what the real reason was. There were different reasons,
Yeah, yeah.
different strokes
Okay.
for different folks. Whether it was racism,
Mm-hmm.
or it was a little bit of me being young and people didn't want to work with me and things like that. It was a mix of different things happening. But the last place that I worked at was actually a petroleum finance company, which sounds really boring. It's as boring as it sounds. But while I was working there, they were owned by a big bank, and then another big bank ended up buying them. And so when that bank bought them, we started to go through this merger process with our department or our company and their company. And so what happened was the bigger bank didn't want to keep on all of the employees from our company. So they wanted the CEO of our company to make a decision of who he would cut. He decided on who he was going to cut. I wasn't one of the people that he wanted to cut. However, I was one of the people who would take a salary cut. So I was already doing a lot of work because the chief of marketing, he had actually quit a few months before then. And I had taken on all of his tasks. So I was operating at such a high level and I was performing this task, or the level of task of somebody who should have been making 6 figures, but I wasn't making 6 figures at all, not anywhere close. And so when they told me that they were going to give me a cut, I was only making $45,000 and they wanted to cut me down. And I told myself, like, why would I do that? Like, why would I continue to do all this extra work? And then now I'm going to take a salary cut. So I decided to do a fast where I didn't watch TV. I didn't listen to certain music. I prayed all the time. I didn't eat certain food. I did this for 2 weeks straight. Might have been a little bit over 2 weeks. During that time, I was very selective about who I spoke to. I spoke to, when it came to friends, it was two friends in particular that I spoke to. I didn't want to cloud my mind with anything else. I didn't even tell my dad at the time either. He found out like way later. But I basically went through this fast, and then I got some clarity through that fast. But through the fast, what I failed to mention sometimes is that Andy actually had a breakthrough through my fast that allowed me to get the confidence I needed to actually quit the job. So while I was fasting, Andy actually ended up like getting a promotion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So during that time, just being at the office and the corporate job that I worked at, I was at a point where I had been at the position for a while, and I met the director of the couple of tiers above where I was at. A black director that just we spoke on the elevator. This is really just 60-second elevator pitch, elevator talk. First time I met him, and he said once he got off that I really want you to be on my team. So like I'm gonna look out for you. And I don't even think it took a week. It happened like that. It happened during the fast.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I was promoted two positions above where I was actually at during that point of time, which was like crazy because I wasn't looking for a promotion, and this is more of like conviction of things that are happening, and God just putting things into pieces. But like that happened, and then it was a blessing to me, but definitely a blessing to us, and gave Chanel like more of the reassurance that she needed. Like, oh, no, we are gonna be perfectly fine once we do this.
Yeah, and that was crazy. Because I was concerned a lot about the finances. It wasn't my fear wasn't whether or not I could do this whole entrepreneurship thing. It was really what would the finances look like in the beginning, especially. And so through that fast, with Andy getting the promotion, I believe his promotion ended up like almost eating my salary or something like that I was making at the time. So when that happened, I was like, oh yeah, God, you're moving, because that's crazy to me how he ran into somebody in the
In the
elevator
elevator, yeah.
and then literally got a promotion like within the next week.
Right.
And then not only that, but then afterwards I found out that we were getting what's that thing called when they have to let you go and you get the check?
I'm gonna say the word comp, severance package.
Severance, and I was getting a severance package that was also very healthy for me. And so we were able to then move that way. So he actually played a big part in my journey, because if I wasn't with you at the time, I think I might have punked myself out of actually starting my business because of the finances. Because I was skeptical about what my finances would look like for the first few months. Heck, for the first year, honestly, I definitely would have punked myself out, because actually I was supposed to quit before.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to quit probably 2 times before then. And I kept just returning back to corporate America. Like I would have these spurts where I started my YouTube channel doing DIY stuff, and I was doing great with that. And then I went back to work after like 3 weeks because I was like, oh, okay, I guess this isn't working. I'm not going to do this, or whatever the case may be. But it was all about just trusting the process and actually giving my all to it. So it's nice. It's nice to hear that, right?
Yeah.
So you weren't worried at all.
No.
Why you weren't worried? Because
no, and like I said, initially I was worried, but then once that happened, like quick turnaround, I said that this is a no brainer. I being with the person and you kind of see their day to day, you see what the corporate life was doing to them. Right? You see, it's kind of like crippling them and like putting them in a box in a shell. It's like there's no room to breathe, there's no growth whatsoever. But I knew that she had so much more to offer, so if she could do it, which I knew she could because she was doing it. That's the other thing, and you share this all the time. Mm-hmm. You were doing this for all these companies. You were doing it for them in the highest positions, and just not getting paid for it at all, just being disrespected. So, at that point, it wasn't just about like knowing that if you could do it or not. You could do it, but the moment God gave me that reassurance, you guys are gonna be set. It was a no brainer. I had no issues. So support really just played a big role. Like just me standing by her and say, no matter what, I'm gonna support you through this because like we can get through this, the initial phases and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. But it's funny because a lot of people don't feel that way about their significant others. Uh, we had a session in the e-hustle club. So in my membership, we have this session called e-mingles, where we talk about just transparent talks. Like, it's not recorded, it's just a place for us to vent and express ourselves. And one of the topics that we spoke about months ago was support. And there were so many ladies in there that didn't feel supported. More specifically, in their relationship and in their marriage, there were ladies in there that were going through a divorce. And one of the reasons they said that they were going through the divorce was because they didn't feel supported by their significant other. And as I got out and went into the world and I started like meeting other entrepreneurs, like in these networking spaces, I hear the same story over and over and over again about, oh yeah, I was married, but I'm divorced now because he just wasn't on my level and he wasn't supporting what I wanted to do, da 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 da. Or, we weren't on the same level of grind or hustle or whatever, yep. Right? And so I hear that often, and I always wanted to ask, like, what do you think makes it hard for a man to support a woman who's going after her dreams?
I think it's just I think it's the cloudy vision. So I'll say this. First, the first layer of all of this is that you guys have to have a level of communication and a level of understanding and a level of trust in each other's capabilities to see that whatever this person is actually attempting to do, it's going to be successful. I think a lot of men, what they have in their mind, and I actually kind of blame society for this, right? Because the way society kind of puts everything into perspective is that we're gonna carry the load and we're not gonna get any type of help, and we have to do this on our own, which is, yeah, I understand that, but a lot of men shy away from that moment. You know, when that light shines on them, they cripple down, they fall into a rock, and they're like, I don't need to do this. There's like I'm not doing this myself. I feel like this person should do this, or this person is wasting their time with their hair business. This person is wasting their time doing this. We live in a society that where every single person, they want a microwave result. They want the result to happen over time. Mm-hmm. So if you had a bad month and you didn't meet your goals this month, and maybe I don't know, you guys are doing 50-50, however you guys decide to do your relationship, and you couldn't help with the rent or mortgage at the time, he may feel tried. So then he falls back and he's like, no, this is not going to work. So he pulls himself back, which is really, it's how society makes it, because in their mind, the men that don't really put themselves in a position to actually understand it, they see it, if you're not successful now, you're not going to be successful then. Therefore, this is just a waste of time. And we're putting more money into something that's going nowhere. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to have a level of faith, belief, understanding, and understand what your significant other's doing. Like, they should be your biggest supporter. They're seeing you every single day at home, whatever the case may be. So that opportunity, that gap, I blame society, but I also blame the men that don't have that type of maturity level to actually understand that or grasp that concept. It's all of that. I think that goes into that, which is, it's tragic. But as you say, you see that all the time. I see it all the time too. Like, within the environments that I'm in, the conversations are similar, and the results, the reasons for certain things are about the same, which is, it's kind of weird and interesting to me. So I think that level of disconnect and just not understanding it plays a big role.
So you're saying you think that guys aren't mature and they're still stuck in the gender roles mindset?
I think so.
Because so do you think it's the same thing when a woman is just making more in corporate too? You think it's similar?
No, I think for that aspect, that's a level of pride that gets in the way. Mm-hmm. You know, when a woman is making more money than you, and you feel like they're carrying the relationship, some men have a level of pride where they can't see themselves being placed in that situation, where they feel lower than they are. They gotta be the
spotlight all the time.
Right. So yeah. I think that's what that part is. That's what that plays in.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see that some men, they want to be like I'm the one bringing in all the bread and I'm the center of attention. Some men have a problem stepping back and letting someone else shine. Yep. That's crazy to me, because at the end of the day, whatever the other person brings home technically is for both of y'all. Right. So whether it's one person being the face or not, you should operate as a team. And that's how I see it. That's why it's always crazy to me that I hear things like this. And I hear about just throwing your whole relationship away just because this person didn't want to be supportive. And honestly, it might be out of lack within that person's like their self.
Yep.
It may be that that person, their significant other, their husband, whoever, they maybe wanted to accomplish something in their life, and now that they see you as the woman stepping out and going after what your dreams are and what your goals are, that's like kind of like punches their ego a little bit, and it makes them want to not support you, because if you end up like outdoing them, what are they supposed to say, or what is society supposed to say about that? But that whole gender role thing is interesting to me, because it's like, yeah, I believe in certain things. Like, I'm not walking on the side of the road with the cars on it. I'm not taking out the trash. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But I feel like it's an understanding between your relationship. But when it comes to going after your dreams, period, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's corporate, whether it's your dreams that you want to just bake cookies and sell it to the neighbors, whatever it is, that person should be your biggest cheerleader at the end of the day.
Yeah,
like
there's some men that I know for sure that these is through conversations that they won't support their significant other as much as they should, because they're not doing as well as they should. Because they see that if I try to support your dreams and you're successful and etc., and I'm still trying to figure it out, then I haven't done my job. So then they fall back and then they don't support them fully, which I think is the craziest thing ever. Because at the end of the day, you guys are trying to be joined in a unison and trying to make something happen. But that ego and pride, it plays such a heavy role in some of the mindset of some men that it blocks the ability for them to even be a supportive person. Yeah.
But you mentioned society, you mentioned maturity. Hey Trisha, you mentioned society, you mentioned maturity, and it's funny we're talking about men, but I see that in women sometimes too. Because something that happened when I used to have my shoe boutique, which pissed me off. Like, this pissed me off, y'all. I had a shoe boutique. I'm selling heels for women. And Andy used to be the person to record me modeling the shoes and things like that. People would like DM you or ask you, "Oh, is that your shoe boutique? And is your wife just wearing the shoes?" Not, well, I wasn't your wife then, but is your girlfriend just wearing the shoes? And like, how do you run this business? How are you running this heel business? And I'm like, in your mind, what automatically makes you think that it's a guy that has to be the one pushing the business? It's definitely a societal thing for sure. But now more and more, especially since 2020 happened, I think more, people are noticing that women are the ones on the rise in entrepreneurship. And so it's okay to like take a back seat because women are winning. I mean, we've always been winning, to be completely honest, but women are winning. And whether you're succeeding in entrepreneurship or corporate America or wherever you're succeeding at, it doesn't really take away from you being a man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. And I honestly just think that it's a mental switch that needs to happen for a lot of people. So like, I guess, I don't know, like when I talk about like the divorce thing, or when I hear about the divorce thing, I should say, or when I hear about people breaking up, it's usually, and I have to write these down so I forget. It's usually
you have to write it down because it's a list, which is
it's a list, because I know a couple of people who are either not with their significant others that they've been with for a very long time, or that are divorced or going through a divorce. And it's a list of feelings. They feel like either the person wasn't on their level, like the guy wasn't on their level. They feel like they weren't being supported. I literally heard someone say that they would be up at night, like I guess working or whatever, and the person would be sleeping. Or when she made her first million, like he wasn't excited about it or something like that. I was like, that's crazy. Yes, there's some bums, but that, like you should be happy or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think a lot of times when I hear it, I'm wondering, did these people communicate it? How often did they communicate it? How well did they communicate it? Did they actually try to work on it? Or did they just kind of shut themselves like down? Because I know me, I over communicate now, but back in the day, I used to be a little bit nonchalant, where I would let things roll off my shoulder and just attempt to fix everything myself in every regard. But now I've been super vocal, whether it's in every type of relationship, whether it's a friend or a family member or you. So like if I'm on the couch working and I feel like you should be working too, I'm gonna tell you. You don't got nothing to do. Yeah, I will say that. Like I'll find something for you to do if you don't have nothing to do, or you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And whether you get mad or not, or a little agitated or not, I mean, at the end of the day, I have to say what it is that I want.
Yeah.
It's not. I think that sometimes people assume that the other person, because they've been with you for so many years, which in part it is true, they should know, like, to get up and to do certain things or to support you and do certain things. But I mean, it's kind of like how I gotta tell you how to wipe the counter every single time, even though wipe counters probably hundreds of times, right, but you always miss a spot. Miss it, yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Like I always gotta tell you. So it's like you just gotta keep over communicating. But I guess to you, what are some of the reasons that you hear that people's relationships are dying out, especially when it comes to one being an entrepreneur and one not being an entrepreneur?
I'm trying to think of others that you haven't said, because most of the ones you said were pretty spot on. Mm-hmm. But another one is balance and just trying to figure out, like, yeah, if you're working regularly, you have your 8 to 5, 9 to 5, however you want to put it, however hours you work. But then you think that, somebody goes and becomes an entrepreneur and then now they become suddenly more free. But in reality, entrepreneurship, they work 24/7. So, mm-hmm. But if you don't know that beforehand and now you're thinking about it,
kind of tough, sorry.
If you don't know that beforehand and now you're thinking about it, you gotta now find that balance that you need to have, right? You and your partner. So, prime example, it's gonna take some time to get into it, but I think balance is probably one of the biggest things, because you don't see that person as much, or that person is not as free as much to just do, I don't know, go to the movies or just hang out and on the couch and do absolutely nothing and watch a movie. Mm-hmm. No, that person chooses at 7 o'clock, they're going to work on something because they're trying to do something else. Mm-hmm. So I think some people can't handle the fact that this is now their new life, or whatever the mm-hmm. case may be. And going back to the previous thing, I don't understand it. I feel like, and this is vice versa, this could be man or woman. If somebody is doing well within their business, entrepreneurship, whatever, I feel like if they're doing well, you as the other person should want to do well yourself. It's not a matter of, oh, they're doing too well and now you feel like you need to be shut down. You should figure out ways for you to get better. Like that should drive you. Like it shouldn't make you more wanting to sit at home and do nothing. Like, yeah, I get it. It may feel nice, but you don't like that idea. So shouldn't that drive you mentally to do something better, or mm-hmm. just push you to do something better? At least that's what I think it does. That's what it does to me. Mm-hmm. But that's another piece of the mind that doesn't work. But balance, I think balance is a big thing.
Yeah, balance is a key, definitely on the entrepreneur's part. And as you were talking, it dawned on me, like it popped in my head, that we're talking as if it's only the other person who's not an entrepreneur's fault. I don't want to say fault, because that's like blaming someone. Yeah, but we're speaking. I keep getting close. I'm sorry.
You don't.
No, but we're speaking as if it's the person who isn't an entrepreneur's fault. So whether it's the husband or the boyfriend or whatever the case may be, which I saw Althea and Shelly said that they have supportive husbands. So shout out to them. But we're speaking as if it's only the man, right? But as you're talking, sometimes the woman doesn't want to put in the work either. And there's some people who saw this, because normally there's more people on this live. Let's just be honest. There's more people on this live normally. It's usually like we average around like 50-ish, 60-ish on the actual live. And then within 24 hours, usually around 900-ish or 1,000 people see it, right? But there's some women who fail to admit that they're a part of the problem, right? Because relationships aren't a one-way street. And like someone said earlier, I believe it was Shelly, relationships play a big part into whether or not you're successful. Not just romantic relationships, but friendships as well. But since we're talking about romantic relationships, you can scoot over, babe, because you're not centered. But since we're talking about romantic relationships, like they play like a big part in whether or not you're successful. Because when it's time for you to vent, having a person who knows how to take that in and then spit out action steps for you is crucial. Because if not, you're going to find yourself depressed. You're going to find yourself angry. You're going to find yourself like just helpless overall. when you're happy and you need someone to cheer you on and support you in the small things, having a person that's going to push you through that, because it's very easy to continue to overlook minor things that actually build up into bigger milestones. And so there's some people on here, right, who are watching and they're like, okay, it doesn't pertain to me. And there's some people who aren't watching, and I'm going to call them out next week. But there's some people who aren't watching and they think that they got it all figured out and it's just the man's fault and da 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 da. But no, sweetheart, you got to work on yourself. Because at the end of the day, for you to be the ultimate entrepreneur and the ultimate like mom, wife, daughter that you want to be, it takes that continuous work to work on yourself. I'm not perfect. I continue to work on myself. I continue to work on myself as a wife, an entrepreneur, a daughter, oh, I almost said a mother, Jesus, dog mother.
Yeah, dog.
You know, right? I continue to work on myself, and it's important that you work on yourself because it's not always the other person's fault. It takes two to tango. So if I have a problem with something, I need to be comfortable enough to speak up about it.
Right.
If I have a problem with something, once I speak up about it, I need to be comfortable enough to actually want to work through whatever that problem is.
Yep.
Though the same skill set applies when you're an entrepreneur, believe it or not. Conflict resolution is something that appears time and time and time and time again. I've been having to resolve conflict probably since like, I don't know, my entire life, but like it really like sprung up in college. Every year it was something else. It was something different. I had to push through a different hurdle, push through a different conflict, resolve something else, resolve something else. And all of those lessons from back then, like they've helped me now because those like little battles that I have to face now, I've been able to push through them. I've been able to have tough conversations with people simply because I know conflict resolution skills. In business, I've been able to have tough conversations with clients, right? You need that. Business partners or people that you're networking with or whatever the case may be. You need that. So I just wanted to say that part. I can't go a day without preaching. But I just wanted to say, I can't. I find myself doing it all the time. But it's true. It's not just the other person. Sometimes you got to look at yourself and do the inner work as well. And like Andy said, it's about balance too. And so you brought up balance, right? I'm gonna leave that. You brought up balance. And it's interesting because you used to say that I had no balance.
Yeah, I mean that's the truth. So I think Tasha said it right. At the end of the day, no one's perfect at this. Like there isn't a handbook that literally I can give you. Is like this is how to be the perfect entrepreneur. Like to check all the boxes. Like there is a learning curve. Like was Chanel perfect right from the beginning as she started?
Of course.
No, she was not. But at the end of the day, this is what happens when you communicate and try to figure out what works, what doesn't work. But you got to be willing to put, you got to be willing to put in the work yourself. And she has to be willing to understand the criticism that she needs. She has to be willing to take that from me. That's not coming from a place of you're not doing this. No, it's coming from a place of you could be so much better if you did this type thing. So like, it's something that is something that you're gonna constantly work on it and do better. Has she progressed since 2019? Yeah. Is she all the way there where she needs to be? No, but will she get there? Yes. Are we gonna continue to work to it and get better? Yeah. But it has to be a communication thing. You guys have to be willing to like. We're gonna keep saying two to tango. Y'all gotta be willing to tango together to make sure y'all get this dance right, or else somebody's gonna fall down. So like that's really the end all be all. Like the balance doesn't come from the beginning. The balance comes from times and time again and trying and understanding, well, this was not good. This didn't work out. Last month, if you're gonna do another session like this or another VIP accepting clients for a whole month, I think you should do it this way. This gives you more time throughout your days and we can do this that we want to do because yes, entrepreneurship is great. It funds your life. Corporate America funds your life. But you as a couple, you have goals that you want to do outside of work. I don't know about y'all. I ain't trying to work every day of my life. And neither is Chanel. We're trying to get to a point where we can do what we want to do with the things that we're trying to build exactly what everybody is trying to build, right? To set us up, to set up our families and generations to go and to go. So you really have to be able to just accept that and work through it. Because if you don't work through it, people just they run away when it starts getting sticky. The quicksand, you start to fall down. All right, yeah, we're done. I'm going to tap out here. This is not working out for me. But I think you just got to work through it. You got to, push each other. Like, that's key.
What are some of the things I did before I had balance? or before I had somewhat balance.
Some of the things you.
I did, yeah. When I first started, because my balance wasn't always here. So what are some of the things that I did?
Oh, some things you weren't doing right.
Yeah, that
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Right. So you're given a certain amount of time during the day, and at the end of the day, you want to take the time given to do the things you need to do. Chanel would probably go hours and hours a day and forget that she actually needs to eat a meal. And if she doesn't feed herself or eat and take a break, she's not giving her brain nutrients that she needs to actually think and provide to the people that she's trying to serve. So like that's small.
But what about with us?
With us?
Yeah, because you used to get on my nerves. You used to get on my nerves about that.
You talking about timing?
Yes,
yeah, you today.
Okay, go ahead. You would complain. Trisha said, "Ignore people." You would complain, Trisha. We're not talking about. We're not.
These are the friends now. The friends are coming through.
But yeah, you would complain about how much I worked or something like that.
Yeah.
What were you complaining about again?
I was complaining that you had no time. You had no time because that transition, right? Our schedules were not built that way from before. You know, we had set times that we would go out, or where we used to live, we could walk around the town and in Chanel's, go grab an ice cream, or we're just walking around just because we want to talk about
corporate America is different. Once you're off at 5, you off.
Exactly. Yeah. You're off at 5. You go through this hot land of traffic. You get home at 8, hopefully, and then you move on with your evening. Whether it's y'all cooking together, or y'all decide to go eat out, or maybe y'all catch a movie for the day, there is something else. But in the beginning stages, I had to learn that Chanel's schedule is not going to be the same schedule that she had before, because she is trying to build something from scratch. Mm-hmm. There's no strings being pulled. So once I was situated at 4 or 5, I'm on the couch tapping my hand like, what is up? What we doing? Chanel's like, I got another meeting. I got to do this. And you blink and it's 10 p.m. I was like, well, we kind of had to go to sleep. But she's still working till midnight. So these are things that in the beginning stages, like you would really like turn around and be like, yeah, this is not for me. Like you would complain, you probably back out, guy or girl. This can happen both ways. This is not just a men thing. If the guy is the entrepreneur and you're the one working corporate, this could happen to you too. But
or if both of y'all are trying to do this, yeah.
Right. So, but finding that balance takes communication, takes understanding, and just you guys got trial and error.
Yeah.
You got to figure that out.
You
right?
have understanding at the beginning.
In the beginning, I didn't have understanding.
You didn't have no.
If I have understanding, you wouldn't be here, Sean.
No, Eddie, you did not have understanding. You would be mad, and then you would complain all the time, especially when we ate after 8.
Yes.
Why'd you?
Because that's not how I wanted to live my life. You know, eating after 8. No, we gotta eat before 8. We had.
And then you would complain and be like, "Why do you have your laptop on the couch?"
Yeah, exactly. I was
like, "Do you want me on the couch watching this movie or no?" So I'm gonna bring my laptop down here so that I can work. You know? It's called multitasking,
and that's fine.
It's better than me sitting in my office working.
I agree,
right?
But it's not no defense or whatnot. But just so you understand my perspective. Yes, I was upset. And it is. I have all rights to be upset. But what did that do about being upset? I ain't turn around and say, forget it. Nah, I just figured out a way that works. Whether it was trying to help you do better and say, all right, let's see the time. This is your cutoff point. You got to sleep early so you can get up early and be done early and start a good cycle. Like, you know, you got to take that route and just communicate that. Because I can see it. That's the other thing people don't understand. You as the person that's in it, you as the entrepreneur that's doing all the work, you probably don't notice. Like, you definitely don't notice the time. You don't notice, like, how things are fat. Like, you blink, you're like, it's 11, and I didn't eat, and I gotta go find some food, and nothing's open. You don't notice it.
No.
Time flies.
When you know? Look, I don't know about other entrepreneurs, but I can speak for me and some of my friends. When it comes to, like, it's like entrepreneurs operating on a different clock. When it comes to the actual day, an hour goes by, like, in 15 minutes. An hour is 15 minutes to me. For me, it's like, and in the smallest things that should take.
Takes more.
The small.
I mean,
how you know that?
Because I see you every day. What are you talking about?
The smallest things that should take literally 15 minutes are the things that end up taking an hour or two when it comes to you doing them. So then you end up in this, like, I don't know, like, because whenever I finish, I want to start. So I end up in this, I don't want to call it a funk, but my mindset is like, I need to accomplish something. I need to accomplish something.
Yeah,
Kai said she literally just left the salon.
You're very checkbox
8:50.
driven.
It's 8:50, Kai.
You're very check. Yeah,
it's 8:50. See,
she messing. Stop. No, you're very checkbox. If you write it down, that's how your mind works, though.
Yeah,
if you write it down,
I
this is my today's list. Like, this is my goals for the day. It's there. If I don't see all greens, all check marks, whatever color you decide to use that day, I'm not accomplished for that day. Mm-hmm. So you got to figure it out. I don't have to see green check marks. If I know I'm done, I have no meetings at 2 p.m. I'm not working.
But that's corporate.
But no, I'm saying no. I'm saying, but somebody would get upset that you're still working. Like I could be like at 2 p.m. I come up here like, hey, you wanna go catch something or move or whatever? Mm-hmm. No, I'm still. Well, when are you gonna be done? Then it puts pressure on you to do things like. But I'm saying like that's not the way to go about it, because you just have to understand like your life and your flexibility, your actual 8 hours is not an entrepreneur's 8 hours. Like that's a completely different. Like you got to work more to build something because you're building something from scratch, and that's what people don't get. Like, and this is what pisses me off and everything. Nothing works overnight, guys. It does not. Like, I don't care how many TikToks or Instagram or success stories you see that works overnight. It doesn't. Like, it doesn't. Microwave effects doesn't work. You gotta put in the work to get to where you want to go, and that work you gotta build it brick by brick, and that's what it takes.
Yeah, there was something that I was thinking about as you were talking, and I completely forgot now.
Was it me not in the beginning?
Oh no! So I was saying yes, but corporate it was very different, where it was like, okay, when you're done because it's somebody else's dime, it's somebody else's time.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, it's your dime, it's your time. If you're not doing it, yeah, you may have a team, but if y'all not doing it, it's not getting done.
Right.
So it's like I gotta like push to complete certain things, and that's something I'm still working to be better at. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I have done is I started shortening my to-do list. So I used to be very, very what's the word? Ambitious. Like I used to be very ambitious when it came to my when it came to my list or whatever. I used to be very ambitious, and I would put 10 things to get done in a day. Now I try to focus on putting 3 to 5. Mm-hmm. And I try to color coordinate them so that I'm like not spending a whole lot of time on something that's not generating revenue within my business. But I haven't gotten that balance down yet. That's something that I'm continuing to work on, continuing to like become better at. It's especially hard when you have either a small team or people on your team who aren't fully trained yet or who aren't fully in the position yet.
Yeah, onboarding wise.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, especially for like solo entrepreneurs who don't have a team. You have to find a balance between this admin back end stuff that needs to get done, but also the front end marketing stuff that needs to get done as well until you have the money to be able to hire out. Yeah. You know? Yep. So for me, when it comes to balance, you ain't asked this, but I was gonna say like where I've accomplished. We talked about where I was at. Yeah. I don't work on weekends anymore. Yep. I used to take coaching calls and everything on weekends when I first started. I had to get how I live, but I don't work on weekends anymore. I also cut myself off at a certain time on weekdays. There's no actual set time. Is there like an average time that I come down at? Probably like on Tuesday. Oh, not on Tuesdays.
You can't count the days where you have.
On Thursdays, yeah. On Thursdays, I go live on the E-Hustle Club. Yep. So that's usually like 9:30, 10 o'clock the latest. On Mondays, I go live on YouTube. That's usually 9, 10 o'clock the latest. Yep. Tuesdays, I have the co-working sessions with the Ultimate Launch course. That's usually 9, 10, 30. So around like, around like 9, 10:30-ish. 9 to 10:30 is when I cut my days off on weekdays. Yep. I try to. Unless I'm in the middle of a launch or something like that. And I know that once I start going in for this new product business, I don't know what my time will look like. But it's all about communicating that as well. But one of the things that has helped me, and I think I mentioned this before, our dog isn't here. I think I mentioned this before, is I use the structured app. And that has helped me notice that I just put too much on my plate, and I've been able to like narrow it down. Mm-hmm. But I also use it to stay on track with what I need to do, to brain dump things that need to get done but not right now, to color code things based on whether they're business or personal. So I started putting personal things on structured. I told you this before.
Yeah.
And I color coordinate those things purple. If it's something that I have to do that's not business related, but it's for somebody else, it's color coordinated white. Mm-hmm. If it's something that drives revenue within my business, is business related, obviously, then it's green. And if it's something that's minor that I have to do for business, then it's pink, right? Mm-hmm. So I have like purple, white, pink, green on my structured app, but I make sure to intentionally put things for personal as well so that I can have some type of balance, mm-hmm. somewhat, so that I don't forget things. But before we like move on from this topic of support and balance and all that, I got 3 tips I want to share, and you can add on to these if you want to. But when it comes when it comes to relationships and feeling supported or supporting the other person or the other person feeling neglected or whatever, the main thing we said was communication is key. Yep. Right? As I stress that all the time, communication is key. Even when it hurts, you much rather communicate it than to not say anything. Mm-hmm. The second thing is to express yourself with feelings. So one of the things that we learned when we were going to counseling before marriage, premarital counseling, mm-hmm. is we learned to speak in I feel statements. Now, we don't do that all the time. And I begin on,
I mean, I'm not perfect. We don't do it all the time. It takes some time.
Right.
To get low, yeah.
But you speak with I feel statements. So instead of like saying, let's say me and Andy are in the same room and I'm over here sweating bullets, unpacking inventory or something like that, and he's watching a basketball game. Instead of me looking at him and either not saying nothing or looking at him and saying like, oh, you don't see me working? Like, come on, help. Like, instead of me saying something like that, which could be a trigger, we learned how to like basically speak in I feel statements. So instead of saying that, I can say like, I feel a little bit neglected when you decide to watch basketball as I am trying to prep for the launch of my new business. Or I feel, I guess that's what it would be, neglected. Yeah. Yeah. Or I feel overlooked when you decide to go out with your homeboys when you know that I have a launch coming up in 10 days. Or I feel, I'm just kidding. But that's like, we learned to speak in I feel statements, and those help because it takes out like the judgy, rude tone out of it because mm-hmm. you lead with feelings. So if I'm telling you I feel sad and you combat me and you try to argue, then you're just being a B word or a a-hole. Like if you do that. Yeah. Like, so I think leading with I feel statements definitely help. And then the last tip that I have for just the balance thing and the support topic is to create a list of expectations of your significant other. This is also something that we did. This is one we did with our pastor. Yep. We have a workbook where we had to write out our expectations for marriage. And it sounds crazy because you're like, I can't expect somebody to do something. But in reality, when you think about it, when you think about your upbringing, when you think about just who you are as a person and what you wanted in that other person, mm-hmm. you have some sort of expectation. Yep. Because what happens when you aren't real about the expectations that you have within your significant other or within your husband, you end up bottling up all of these feelings as things start to happen, as conflicts start to arise, but you can't really address them because you never actually outlined what the expectation was in the first place. Yep. So when you outline your expectations, then it's like, and you communicate those expectations beforehand or just throughout in general, it's easier to say, well, you know that I'm not taking out the trash because I expect you to take out the trash. Mm-hmm. Or you know that I'm not tying my shoes because growing up, I didn't tie my shoes. My dad tied my shoes. My dad ironed my clothes. And so I expect you to tie my shoes and iron my clothes. It could be something as small, as silly as that, mm-hmm. or something really big when it comes to expectations. Yeah. But what do you have to add?
I got one, and I think you kind of hinted towards it earlier. So if you are the entrepreneur or the significant other, in this case, this applies to you both. If you're the entrepreneur that doesn't feel like you're getting support, and you're we're in the same scenario where you're doing something here in your office, and your significant other is watching a basketball game or watching some movie on Tubi to kind of play the both roles. Just ask, hey, can you help me with so and so, or can you do this? Can you do that? See if you can get some type of feedback there where you can actually get some type of support that'll help you finish this task faster. And if it's the other way around, if you're the person that's watching your significant other as the entrepreneur that's working late or just doing a lot of things, and you feel like you're just sitting there waiting for them to be done, ask them how can you help. It could be something as simple as, hey, um, I can go through your emails real quick for the next, I don't know, 2 hours and respond to the emails. And I'll ask you questions of things that I may not know, specific things about programs. But at least it wouldn't take you 2.5, 3 hours to do emails. You can do something else. And I have nothing else to do at the moment. I've worked out, and I'm just chilling. I can look through your emails for you. So it's on both sides, right? So if you play on whatever shoe fits for you, overall consensus is to just ask. What does the Bible say? Ask and you shall receive. So just ask, and hopefully that will build some type of communication where if you constantly are asking this and asking, or whatever the case may be, the person may feel like, oh, maybe they really want me to assist them in this to help out. So that's the biggest thing that I would say outside of everything you already said.
Cool beans. Thanks for adding that. Kai said, thanks for the app suggestion. Literally using my time wisely. Yes, structured is the truth. I have it on every Apple device that I own: iPad, iPhone, Mac, and MacBook. I have it on literally everything. I think they have a structured app for Androids.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I think they have a structured app for
Okay.
Androids as well, but I honestly wouldn't know. But I think they do. I think it is on Androids as well. I got Apple everything. You can search it on there.
I feel like I'll tell you if you have.
And he's gonna search and see if it's on Androids. My mom said that's right. Ask and you shall receive.
Nope.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Is it only because that's Apple?
No, it'll tell you what's
okay,
what's
sorry, y'all.
Oh.
Structured is not on Android apparently. So it's on Apple only. Sorry. But the cool thing about Structured too is they now have AI. Everything has AI now.
As they should.
As they shouldn't, because you're in cybersecurity.
No, but that's a whole nother. I'll be here for 3 hours trying to talk about this. It's the future. You just have to do it the right way.
Oh, okay. Well, they have AI now, and it helps you plan your day as well. So it's really good. But speaking of cybersecurity and all that good stuff, I wanted to segment into business talk. Even though technically this was business talk because your mental and all that you got going on leaks into your business, like I said earlier. But I want to talk specifically business, product business now.
Okay.
Right? So you actually own a business that's kind of on pause right now, but not really because you're rebranding / revamping. Mm-hmm. And so you have a business called Suave Lajon.
Yep.
Obviously that's not all you do. You're in corporate America in cybersecurity, and that's cool. And you started doing Cyber Mondays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you fell off a little bit, so you need to come back. I'm not the one to talk though, because I ain't been on Instagram for.
Oh no, it is perfectly fine. But the people have been asking, but I've been planning and trying to cater the content to the general audience. So trying to figure out different ways and
what general audience.
I want to not necessarily dumb it down. I want to make it seem.
Oh, you mean to beginners?
I want it to make it very easy to understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
You don't necessarily have to be in tech to actually grasp what I'm saying. I find myself saying too many technical terms that may steer somebody away. It's like, I don't know what you mean by spear phishing. That's off the wall.
And you gotta explain what that is, though. So you can literally have a post that's about explaining what spear phishing is.
And the reason I got that, I just taking some feedback. There was one that I did where I took a term and I defined the term and explained the term and provided examples of what that does. What exactly is that action? Mm-hmm. Underneath that post, the person messaged me is like, "Hey, I don't understand. What is spear phishing?" That's what the video was about. But I guess they got stuck on the word and just completely missed the actual definition of what that meant.
That's a them problem.
So I want to, that's what I've been doing, trying to figure out topics that'll be more general more not basic, intermediate to the general population. And that's why I haven't done it for 4 weeks now.
I think it needs to be a mix. You don't want to share anything advanced for real on
Yeah.
social media like that. Your advanced stuff is what people pay for,
Right.
right? But also, like, you tell people what it is and why it's important, and the
Yeah.
how is also what they pay for. So even when it comes to like uh easy things that you consider easy, and then some things that you don't consider not too easy, I feel like you can. It's a balance between the two when you share it.
Hmm.
It's all about the levels the person is at too, because everybody isn't at the same level. So if you look at me, for example,
Hmm.
there are people who already have launched. So every time I talk about, if I would talk about launch all the time, I would miss those people who need to like rebrand, or miss those people who need to fix the holes that are in their brand to
Right.
actually grow and scale.
Yeah.
So it has to be a balance. You got to figure out what that balance is. So
Yeah.
I mean, we literally sat here and did the percentage from our audience, and we saw the split
where it fell
of
off.
whether
Yeah.
they're level 1, level 2, level 3, and that's actually a tip while we're talking. That's a tip for you guys as well, because when it comes to creating content, even when it's not like, we're talking about digital products and stuff like that, but even when it's not digital products and it's physical products, there's still levels. So you can take this and apply it to Suave Logic if you want, but there's still levels. So there's some solution in there that you should be providing, and there's many wins and many solutions that you can provide to your audience, and those things are going to be on different levels as well. So for example, if I have bad skin, something as simple as changing my pillowcases may actually help me, and I may not have known, but that's something super beginner.
Yeah.
Or something as advanced as, oh, don't use this chemical and do this, and this is the routine that you should do within your morning and nighttime routine, is not so basic, a little bit more intermediate, but it could apply to somebody as well. So different levels. But anyway, sorry, let's get back to it. So you're rebranding and revamping Suave Lajon.
Yep.
And before we hop into like I guess, I don't know, before we hop into the meat and potatoes, what is Suave Lajon? If you had to give an explanation
Suave
of it.
Lajon is a men's accessory box that provides handmade, handcrafted accessories for men of culture to allow them to dress, not to dress their best at whatever the occasion is, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a photo shoot, whatever. It's just you just trying to be different outside, or whether it's corporate America, whatever the case may be. It allows for you to, um, I always come back to the saying, you look good, you feel good. So that's kind of where I got that from, and kind of pushed that forward. So that's what we were on before, and we are switching and making a switch now. And
switching industries, kind of. It is kind of industry.
Yeah.
We're switching a hyper industry.
Yeah.
It's a it's sub industry. There we go.
Sub industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Switching to sub industry, and with development of different.
What made you switch to the sub industry? You, not me. You answer.
Wait, what?
Because I have an answer too, but you answer.
Oh, you have an answer?
Yeah.
No, I think personally, it took me. I wouldn't say it took me a while. COVID didn't play a role in this, but it kind of did.
Yeah, it did.
Because we started, like, officially kicked off in February of 2020, and then COVID kind of happened, I think, late February, early March. And, we kept it moving, but I think society as a whole kind of shifted, because not everyone wanted to dress up to that standard. So, like, people nowadays, they more want to dress street fashion, street clothes. I think that's what it is. That's where that's
or
the label.
Just boring lounge clothes.
Oh, should I call it boring lounge clothes?
Sorry, it is. There's so many loungewear boutiques that came out since 2020. No shade. If that's what you're doing.
Yeah,
But it's just like, okay.
I'm more into upscale and trying. You don't. Yeah, granted, not everyone's gonna be invited to a red carpet event. That's true. That's okay. But it's that one time you get invited to a red carpet and it's like, oh, I need to buy a suit. I don't even know where to go. I don't even know what to look like. I need help. But you don't think on a day-to-day basis. Like, there are realtors out there. There are pastors. There are people in Congress, whatever the case may be. They are now dressing down in jeans and a t-shirt or a polo. And I don't know. That's where society is. But because of everything that happened since then, and I realized what the wedding industry has become, I decided to make a shift with obviously networking and being able to partner with some certain individuals in here and there. So that was really my reason for making that shift and transitioning to the wedding industry and helping the guys look good. Sometimes they're a mess.
You failed to mention that it was a subscription box, right?
Now I mentioned it before, but not really that basically. But yeah, that's probably
It was a
your reason,
subscription
right?
based company.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my reason for
No,
switching. But I mean, yeah, that's a
that's
part.
part of it.
That's part of the reason, but also because of what you said. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with subscription based companies, but it's because of what you had in the subscription that now, because of COVID, people started going like staying at home for
Yep.
work, not going into the workplace, and when they were invited back to the workplace, they weren't. It wasn't mandated that they dress a certain way.
Not at all.
Yeah, so that full shift is it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack to get to them. And the people who are the needles in the haystack are people who don't even like social media for real.
Yeah, so you're not finding.
Yeah, so you're not finding them. So it was just smart to make a shift to the wedding industry because what ended up happening was we created you an Etsy shop because Chanel said to do it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I said, no, well, why did you create the Etsy shop?
You said it was a good idea. I didn't really use Etsy before, so I didn't know nothing about it. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, we created an Etsy shop for Suave Lajon because some of your things were, like you said, handcrafted, custom made, and that's what Etsy is for. And when he put it on Etsy, a lot of people started buying for groomsmen and their grooms and all that.
Right.
So we ended up seeing the potential there, but then obviously we got married last year, and all of the all of what? Say it. Go ahead. No,
you got it.
Say it, babe.
You talking about all the groomsmen?
Yeah, all the accessories and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all the groomsmen's accessories for my wedding was Suave Lajon.
Friend.
Our wedding?
Eddie!
You go big.
Eddie! All the men's accessories
all
for
the
our
accessories
wedding
was provided by me.
The socks were custom made.
Yep.
Like, okay, so first you had shades that were Suave Lajon. They had Shandy Union on one side, Suave Lajon on the other side. Their bracelets and stuff were Suave Lajon. Their socks were custom made. So at the time, my designer, Ayla, actually designed the socks, and then we got them made, which is major because a lot of people, like I get questions about how to manufacture stuff. And even when I give people answers, they run into high MOQs, which is minimum order quantity, and they don't know how to negotiate down to like smaller order quantities, specifically like on places like Alibaba and stuff. Right. So I guess like walk me through your process. Like, are there any like hidden secrets to how you talk to these people so that the MOQs don't matter?
Yeah, I don't know that they're hitting secrets in general. I think if you think of Alibaba, think of it like this way: if you ever traveled internationally and you got out the airport and you were bombarded by like everybody that was like Uber, taxi, Uber, Lyft, whatever the case they were saying, it's like transportation. I'll take you. That's kind of like how Alibaba is like on the surface level. So like if you click on something because you're like, I don't know, you're interested in getting some necklaces or maybe a watch, you're gonna get a lot of inquiries like, hey, I'll make this for you, I'll do this. But that's very surface level, and what they do is they initially just throw you out a number. And if you are there to just take that number, just like if you are there to take like, oh, I'll take this $50 taxi to take me down the street, then you're a sucker for the trap, and that's really what it is. You gotta treat it like a transaction, and you gotta treat it like there's an actual person there, and then build a relationship with that individual. So I negotiate just about everything, even though I know even the current people that do everything that I do from Alibaba, I still negotiate to this day the pricing of anything new that I get, because at the end of the day, they have seasons that change. They have discounts, they have sales, they have all these things that are happening. So it just because the price per item was this 2 months ago, that doesn't mean it's this moment while I'm trying to order. So I would never just take that price. I look at everything. So I think you need to be as aggressive as those individuals that are trying to get you to get in their taxi or whatever the case may be, so you are comfortable where you want to be. Because if you take their pricing, then you're gonna feel like I don't need all this much. This is so expensive. the quality's not there. You have to ask every single question. Get the communication. Use WhatsApp for communication. Send them videos. Like, they understand more than
Wait,
you
you
think.
send them videos of what?
Yeah, I send them. So
Of
like
what?
the last individual, well, the current person right now that's working on remaking the box.
Mm.
I sent her the current box. I said,
Oh,
"This is the box. This is what I want different. This is what it looks like. I want this changed. So A and B. This is what I want these to look like. Leave everything else the same. If you're gonna send them a video, maybe you have a prototype. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you just want to actually just talk through it because there's no voice recording on there. Talk slow. Like, don't like try to speed up and just talk slow, but explain and articulate exactly what you want. And if you cannot get to through that person is probably not the manager. Ask for this is real life. Ask them for who their manager is, because the people that I work with now that make my custom items, they're the ones that are managing these warehouses. And I have gotten to them because I've talked to other individuals and said, hey, let me talk to your manager. And now I don't talk to anybody else. Insert person name here. She knows that if I'm coming to her, we have a good relationship. We do everything all the time. So I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And they'll check up on you. They'll ask you, hey, here are new things that we have. So once you get the one person that works for you, build a relationship. And always, always ask for a sample if you're not sure. Read the reviews. I think it's just about everything that you do in everyday life. If you're going to go to Amazon and you're going to shop for something, you're probably going to look at the reviews to see the quality of the product. So I hear a lot of people that use Alibaba that's like, this product was horrible. It didn't make sense. It looked fake. It was plastic. But I look at the first 5 reviews, everyone said the same thing. How could you fall to that same trap? So like, do your research. Like, do your research, talk, communicate, make everything make sense before you actually make an actual purchase with a person. And once you have that one person that works, continue to use them, because you already know that you're going to use them for everything. They're going to stick around. And I think that's what has worked for me, just using that platform.
So you basically haggle them down in price and in the MOQ?
Yeah, all the time.
What's the lowest MOQ you ever did? Or the lowest, I guess not, MOQ doesn't matter anymore, but what's the lowest amount you've ever ordered of something
Probably
custom?
10.
Really?
Yes.
Probably. But did you promise them that you were going to work with them in the future?
I didn't have to. I had built a relationship with that individual.
Okay, so this wasn't your first.
If you're talking about somebody like off rip, this is the first time I ordered with them.
Yeah.
I believe the bracelets, I had never worked with that girl before, and I only ordered 15. And it was 50 as the minimum requirement. I ordered 15. And it was here in probably 3 days. Or all right, maybe like 5 days. Like, it was quick. The other aspect of that is the shipping. The shipping, they will always throw this 20-day period. You're gonna pay $80 for shipping. Do not settle. That's not correct. Always ask. There are other ways. There are other people. And if you, I always use this as an example, because I always say, hey, well, this warehouse that's next to you, that I know the person over there because she does this for me, they're using this company for shipping and logistics. Can you not use the same thing? Is there a reason why you can't use that same company?
Wait, so this is another Alibaba person?
Yeah, I name drop.
Oh, so another manufacturer on Alibaba.
They know each other.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, this person from over there, they're able to send it to me by this, and it's gonna come quicker. Do you guys have a restriction against that? And then they'll go back. Let me go look to see what that pricing is. And if they could do it, they could. If they can't, I'll ask somebody else. And if they absolutely can, then I'll just figure out a different way. That's if you're like obviously in a hurry and you need something pressed like quickly.
Okay. And so, hold on, I was making a mental note of that for me. After that, No, but I mean, well.
If you guys have questions too, ask it on the chat.
It's gonna be. Yeah, you're right here. I mean, this sign is from Alibaba, but this sign from Alibaba. I guess okay. So going back to the reviews thing, and yes, if you have questions, one of the benefits of watching live is that you can ask questions. So if you have questions about manufacturers, shifting through Alibaba, all the things, ask it. Because I hear a lot of horror stories about Alibaba, or people just don't know how to use it for real.
Yeah, that's the case.
Yeah. And so a lot of people just assume that everything on there is terrible quality, like you said, or that I once had a girl, because I suggested Alibaba for manufacturing. She commented and dragged me on TikTok. Remember that girl? About how I'm supporting
Oh, I think I
like
yeah.
low wage labor or something like that. Like she was going off, like made a whole TikTok series about it. And it's hilarious because I can almost promise you if you go and pick up two things in your house, look at the bottom, look at the sticker, and I promise it says made in China. Like you cannot help it. They are just really good with manufacturing stuff over there. But there's also other countries as well, like India, Turkey, and things like that, which people don't realize are actually on Alibaba too.
Yep.
And that's something that I be telling people when I talk to them. I'm like, you do realize that Alibaba is not just like a Chinese place. Alibaba actually has other countries on there, especially Turkey. If you are getting clothing made and you want your clothing to be luxurious, high quality, or if you're getting handbags made, especially if they're leather, Turkey is the place.
Yep.
Like, yeah, Turkey is the place. Like one of my, like, I don't want to say my favorite. I guess I can say my favorite. One of my favorite brands, high-end brands, owned by a black woman. Yeah. She gets her stuff manufactured in Turkey. So it's definitely good. But before we wrap up, I want to ask you probably like one or two more questions about Alibaba. Because if nobody got questions, I guess I'll ask the question.
Sure. I'll take it.
See, this is what happens when you don't want to. This is what happens when you don't want to tune in because you think you're too good. But anyway, Ava said, "I get my clothing handmade here in America." Good for you.
That's
I said, look around your house. Yeah, pick up the things in your house. So not just the clothing that you're making for your brand. That's great that it's made in America. But look around your house. There's a lot of things that's made in other countries. Whether it's Turkey, whether it's India, whether it's China, whatever. And what we have to understand too as a nation is that us actually buying in bulk from them supports the import-export. I'm a huge history nerd. So import and exports exist for a reason, right? Even when you go to the grocery store and you're buying something like bananas, 9 times out of 10, the bananas did not come from America. I can almost guarantee you that. They were not made here. They were not grown here. They were flown in here. Like, they were not made in America. And we talk about this time and time again because we're both Caribbean, right? We're both Caribbean, and we grew up eating certain fruits, certain vegetables, things that were dirt cheap to us because, you know, we would be growing them in our backyard. And then you come to America and they're taxing. An avocado is like 5 times the price than what you would get it for in said country, which is ridiculous. And it's because there's a lot of importation being done, and then America's taxing it up to say that it's whatever, right? Organic or whatever. But anyway, going back to the Alibaba thing. Okay.
2 questions.
Yes, two questions. There we gotta go. No, but two questions. 2 questions. They don't got no questions.
I say if they got questions.
Oh yeah, yeah. If y'all have questions, I said that already. But 2 questions. So going back to the Alibaba thing, when it comes to like getting custom things made, I know you said there's no MOQ, but what do you do to quality check certain things? Like, how do you quality check the custom things that they're making?
So part of it is you have to have an eye for what it is. Okay, I back up. You have to know exactly what you're looking for. Like, let me say, okay, a prime example. Let's say if you wanted to make a toiletry bag, but you just knew you wanted to make a toiletry bag, but you didn't know what type of fabric you wanted, the stitching around it, you know, how long you possibly want it to last, will any type of stitching on it would fall off. You just know you wanted a toiletry bag, a certain color, etc., etc. You looked at the reviews and you really couldn't get much. What I ask for everyone, which they actually never offer this. I always ask for a mock-up. And before they actually send me a sample, I ask for them to make it and send me a video of it. If that video does not look up to par, and the video, you can request as many things as you want in that video. This is what I mean. So if it's a toiletry bag, I want you to request, you know, have the person like actually touch it, feel the fabric, look at everything all around, ask them for whatever you need. That is your quality check because you're not
unzip it.
Like every single aspect. Zippers are important. Like you'd be surprised how many zippers and dresses actually don't zip the right way. because the people
Not the
that
zipper.
they put these
The
zippers
zippers
in,
and dresses
they're
scarred you.
they're
Yeah.
stiff and they're just horrible. The lining is bad, it's poor quality. But the dress looks nice. But the zipper, which is probably one of the most important things, is horrible. And then the dress is ruined. You got to get it re-zipped. But your quality check is you have to pay attention to exactly what they're doing from the beginning, which is the mock-up, the 3D design. It's like, all right, I'm gonna see all that. Then the sample that they're creating for you, let me get a video of that sample. You can actually talk to them on the phone if you want, on WhatsApp. That's really up to you. You can do that too. Share that information. Y'all talk on video. I actually think Alibaba, depending on what tier you're at, you can actually call them on video on WhatsApp. I have to
Oh
fact check
yeah.
that.
Didn't you just find out that you're
Yeah, I'm an elite. I forgot the tier. I'm one.
Yeah, he's one away
the,
from the top on
top tier.
Alibaba. I call him the Alibaba King,
But
because I don't use Alibaba like that. Because I mean, I don't have to at this moment. I mean, I am, but still, the things you get away with, I don't. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry.
yeah,
Go off.
just do your quality check that way. Look at the video, etc., and make sure it satisfies your needs. Ask all the questions there. Like, don't fall. And then once you're done with that, and they send it to you, do not feel pressure that you got to hurry up and order it. I'll tell you, this is the actual true story. I don't have a wallet on me. I just made a wallet a couple months ago, and I did my quality check. Had a couple of versions made. I was satisfied. Had it shipped to me. Now what am I doing? I am using the wallet every single day. Everyone is seeing it. They like it. That's great. But what am I doing? I'm making sure over time that there is no wear and tear on the wallet that I just purchased. Because what does that mean? If I have a customer that purchases this wallet from me, I don't want them to come in 2 months and say the emblem ripped off, the actual the RFID scanner doesn't work. My cards are actually like being blocked. I don't want any of that. So now after I get it, I'm doing my own quality check because I've been using this wallet myself. I need to make sure everything is up to par. Once that satisfies all my needs, then I actually put a bulk order and put any feedback that way. So that's I think you just got to be intentional and you got to know exactly what you want like going into it. Because if you don't, it's a transaction for them. They're gonna make their money and you paid, so I can send you whatever. But you got to make sure, and you can always, 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 no matter what. I haven't had to send something back because I've quality checked before, but you could possibly do that. But I just do it beforehand. I got it. What was that? When you name drop?
Yeah, go ahead. So Shelly said,
Yep.
When you name drop, do you actually know that the manufacturer? Wait, do you actually know that other manufacturer, or are you just saying it to see if they would change just the price?
The times that I've name dropped in the past, I know the manufacturer. I've worked with them. I name dropped the actual person that I work with because at this point, this is a manager.
When you say work with, you mean you had a conversation with?
Like
you got in their quotes.
You would have to have a full conversation with them, pass the quotes, and get to the point of shipping because
and
that's
so before it's shipped out, then you'd be like, I'm gonna go check out somebody else.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. At the end of the day, this is nothing. You could really think about this like just a vendor marketplace. You're walking into a pop-up shop. You're just talking to people. I don't owe you an actual purchase. I can keep moving to the next person. So don't ever. And that's the thing. I think some people feel pressured once they get to the point and the Alibaba representative sends them a quote and says, "Hey, honey, go ahead and pay this, and I'll send it to you in 10 days." And you're like,
"Hi, friend.
How do I say no?" And you go with it. But then you weren't satisfied. You just kind of went with it. So yeah, I name drop specific people that I've worked with, people that I know. Like I've used addresses before and figured out, oh, this warehouse is not that far from you, and this is this person, and I'll use their name and said like this warehouse is doing this and doing that. I've used different warehouses. If I gotten a price that was significantly lower than what they're offering me, I'll tell them like, well, they offer me this price, and I need about this amount in terms of quantity, but I want to give you the business. Like this is like selling. I don't want to say this is like selling 101, but understanding prospects and understanding the power of name dropping to get a buyer, because that's that you're dealing with your no's, the rejection of those no's, but understanding those different pinpoints to pivot them to be like, okay, we'll do it this time for a discount, but then you continue to build a relationship, then it becomes the things like, oh, this person's going to continue to come back, so I can honor the discount I gave them the first time.
That's good. That's good information. we might have to do a live all about manufacturers, vendors, and all that stuff.
We could
If
they
if
people
they
are here, if
yeah,
they actually want it. I
if
don't
they
know.
actually want it, we might have to do that because it's 9:30 and we got we gotta know. But for yeah, we may have to do like a another session. I don't know when, but we may have to do like another like episode. This is episode 7. Did I tell you that? 7 is my favorite number. Another reason why I picked you. Yes. But we may have to do an episode about manufacturers, vendors, all of that, because I'm focusing on launch for Q3. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the content I put out is going to be very beginner and launch or relaunch friendly. Mm-hmm. So maybe we can do that July, August, September. Maybe we could do that either, I guess, September or maybe the end of August or something, where you can make a talk. But that's only if they want it. So I'll do like a poll or something on the community tab to see if they want us an episode strictly about vendors and manufacturers and things like that. So the last question I have for you before we close out is, all right, so I'm working on a new product brand. I am not manufacturing these things myself, and it's for a reason. So one of the qualities of my brand, the features, whatever you want to call it, is that people will be able to get these things extremely fast when before they didn't get it really fast. Like you're waiting weeks for this particular item, mm-hmm. right? You know what I'm talking about, obviously. So they're waiting weeks for this particular item. I want to cut that out. So I'm going to use manufacturers to be able to cut that out. Mm-hmm. But these are still going to be handcrafted, mm-hmm. right? What tips do you have for a beginner like me? Someone who's looking for something that's handcrafted, custom made, going into it. What's like your one main tip for me if I wanted to use Alibaba to find a manufacturer?
I think being intentional and specific to your keyword searching is important. And mm-hmm. understanding that what one thing that they do, and I mean Amazon and all the other companies, they do it all the time, and they ask if you want to leave a review. For some reason, Alibaba, they actually get these reviews from people, which is a great thing because it gives you the perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine the last time you actually, the vulgarity, Miss Sabrina, mm-hmm. the last time you actually placed a review on a product like on Amazon, like
it's been a very long time.
But
usually it's when it's negative.
Right. Mm-hmm. Usually when it's negative.
Yeah.
But I think don't be afraid to take as much time as you need to look through the listings that come up from what you're looking for. Like some of the gold mines of some of these manufacturers, it may not even be on the first page. Like, but you gotta filter through all the results and take your time with it, because a lot of the horror stories you hear is people. They're gonna be a lot. I kid you this. I kid you not. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of manufacturers that do a lot of things. So you can have the same, believe it or not, I have the same manufacturer with the same person that does 4 different things. And I just figured out she does the 4th one with the boxes. Mm-hmm. That was never like a thing to me. I just mm-hmm. happened to actually
What was some of the things she did before?
Like, she'll do my socks, my ties, bracelets if I needed it.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about boxes. Mm-hmm. So I never knew that she actually did boxes until I asked. I said, hey, I asked for a referral, actually. I said, do you know or recommend any other manufacturers that you know of that would give me high quality boxes? This is the video that I'm going for. And she said, we actually could do that. Mm-hmm. It's not something that was listed on like their main thing, because that's mm-hmm. not a main thing for them, but they can actually do that. Mm-hmm. So I think if you looked up like, quality product based boxes or whatever the case may be, they're not going to be number one mm-hmm. on that first page, because they're not known for that. They're known for like ties, mm-hmm. socks, and etc. But if you may find them on the 5th page, mm-hmm. like, but that's right there. You have to really like take your time to mm-hmm. do the research. Don't try to rush into it and think that, oh, this one's good, I'm just gonna move forward with it.
Yeah,
it may happen that the first that's good, that's great, but I'm not saying that that's always gonna happen. So just take your time with researching to make sure that everything checks out the boxes that you need.
Mm-hmm. And Alibaba also has like stars and things like that, but we could get into that if we do like another session, where stars mean something, the badges that they have mean something. I know that much. Because I remember we met the owner or something like that of Alibaba and the Alibaba group like years ago. But Kai asked a question and only gonna answer it because it's Kai. But Kai said,
How long do you quality check for?
yeah, like 3 or 6 months or more.
I think it depends on the product. So, for example, because I know that from the previous example, a wallet is something that a man is going to use every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to go out, they're going to use the wallet. So I know that that's going to give me wear and tear. I think we're going on month 3, and I'll probably stop in another month or so because I'm starting to see some things that I don't personally like about the wallet. So
Mm-hmm.
now I have to take that and give it to the feedback. It's just little small things. It's minor, but it might. I have 2 versions. On that first version that everyone's asking for, you see, this is why I do this. I do this for y'all, you know, because I check it for y'all so y'all don't get mad at me. But I start to see some things, and I'm like, I want to. Now I'm going to ask for a higher quality of that texture that they're making on that wallet, at least on the forefront, because I use it every day, everywhere I go, and I see that, so and I don't like that. So it really depends, Kai, on what the product is.
I think I know the answer to that too. It depends on what the product's life cycle is.
That's true.
Too. It depends on what the product's life cycle is, because someone's life cycle for, let's say, foundation may only be like 6 months. So you may be able to test it for the full 6 months, or you may be able to test it up to 3 months and see if it lasts and do like that. Or someone's the product life cycle may be that you want it to last 3 years, so then you want to test it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I think if I had to pull, I don't know the exact equation. There's an equation that we actually used to use back in my science days when it came to testing. Yeah, Eddie has a problem with believing that I was actually like a real like science type of girl. Like I used to major in like physics. Okay, thank you so much.
You got it.
Yes, that was my major before I switched to public relations. Relax.
I believe
Relax.
you. I believe you.
Okay, but if I had to just go off the top of the dome, I would say whatever the life cycle is supposed to be, try to test it for at least half of whatever that life cycle is. So if you know that you want your product to be reordered every 3 months, then test for a month and a half to see if it lasts. But put it through a bunch of different tests.
Yeah.
So extreme heat, extreme cold, I don't know. Like whatever, depending on what the product is, I don't know. I mean, I do know. But depending on what the product is, right? And testing your packaging and all that stuff to see how it withstands. Like I be telling people to mail themselves the product or mail a family member that's in a different state the product and see how it withstands
shipping.
People throwing it around and doing all that other stuff as well too. But as far as the time frame, I say shoot for half of whatever the product's life cycle is. My mom said, what about the bonnet? She wants a new one. And then Trisha said, bring the glasses back. He never sold the glasses.
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
Those glasses.
He was supposed to sell the glasses. I told him to sell them after our wedding because everybody was asking for them. Do y'all want to know a fun fact? Should I tell them?
All right, go ahead. I don't know where you're going.
The glasses that the groomsmen and our groom, and I have a pair too, that we had for our wedding. Tell me why. Who was it? Versace? Who was it?
Let me find out.
I think it was Versace. Tell me why they came out with the same exact shades 2 months after our wedding. Not saying that they saw our wedding and came out with them. Obviously, I know that they probably had it in the works. But that's to show you earlier when I mentioned, getting stuff made in other countries and how stuff that you own is made in other countries. Everything is not and can't be made in America. It's just the honest truth. It's funny because people look at, it was LV?
Yep.
It was Louis Vuitton. People look at designer things. I mean, and y'all know that these things are getting made in like Italy and other parts of Europe, right? Like, you know they're getting made there. And sometimes those designer brands are also getting things mass produced in other countries as well, importing them to Italy or wherever, and then selling them like that. Even when you look at Apple and your iPhone, like if you look on the actual paperwork that they know that y'all don't read, it says China on it. At the very, in the very tiniest font in between all of that. It says China on it. But when you first look at it, they tell you that it was made in not Silicon Valley. That's not what they're at. But in California. Are they in Silicon Valley? It's made over there, and they'll shot there from the rooftops. But in reality, it was mass produced elsewhere. But anyway,
I have some more bonnets for you. And, those shades are here, Trisha. I just haven't.
He needs to sell them. I told him to sell them things.
I think it was an exclusive thing, and I was like, I didn't want to, but I guess I don't. That's my fault because people have asked, and I was like, I feel like it was exclusive to the people that got it. But yeah, that's my fault. That's my fault. I can get it remade.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think this was good.
I thought it was good.
Okay. So I think if we do bring, when we do bring it back, we're gonna bring it back. I don't know. We're gonna have them vote. I don't know. We'll have them vote. We'll have them. Oh, I was gonna have them vote on the community tab.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
But if this was helpful to you guys, let me know in the chat box. If it was helpful, put yes in the chat box. If you want us to do an episode strictly about vendors, manufacturers, things like that, and our experience with them and all that, let us know in the chat box as well. But I'm also going to put a poll on the community tab. And Trisha's typing so fast, she can't even type.
She is going.
I was in your wedding. Let me buy. I'm exclusive.
That's it. Big dog, I got you. We're going to talk. We'll chat.
But if you guys, if this was helpful, put yes and give this a thumbs up. If you want us to do the manufacturer vendor topic and our experiences with that, especially as I'm going through my own experiences with that now, let us know in the comment box as well, or in the chat box. Let us know that you want us to do a video. I guess put yes if you want us to do both. Or okay, no.
Yes, 3.
Yes. Put yes if it was helpful, and then put vendors if you want us to do another one. So you can put it in the comment box after this is over, or you can put it in the chat box right now. And yeah. And maybe we can even talk about cybersecurity next time. I don't know. Dude. But they ain't gonna want to hear that. They ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for that. I
don't think you want that information.
Yeah. So, this was good. Thanks for coming to Hustle Talks.
No problem.
The very humble beginnings of Hustle Talks. Thank you so much, sir.
Listen,
I appreciate it.
This is going to go a long way.
I know this is going to go a long way. People going to wish they sat on this couch in this here.
Don't forget to come back for them.
Yeah. They're going to wish they sat here in this couch, in this home office. They're going to wish that they were a part of the few that was tuning in every week, right? I know that, normally it's like an average, like 60 or something like that. Right now, it was less than that today. So I didn't check either. But they're going to wish that they were here at the beginning, because, people always want to be there at the beginning when you're working your way to the top. Okay? But I can't wait. But anyway, so thank you guys for tuning in to Hustle Talks. And I will see y'all next week, Monday. Bye.